Hey guys, it's Greg Jones for Engine Builder. We are in Houston, Texas today at H-Squared Racing Engines. I'm joined by owner Halston Harrist. And this right here between us is a 540 cubic inch big block Chevy, and it's our engine of the week.
Engine Builder's Engine of the Week is sponsored by Pen Grade 1, L-Ring DOS Original, and NPW.
Halston, thanks so much for a little bit of time today.
Thanks for coming by and checking out what we got.
Yeah, pumped to be here in the shop in person and get to see you around. And you know, this is one of the builds that you guys recently finished up.
Yes, sir.
So we would love to know a little bit more information about it. I guess, you know, first and foremost, you know, how did this build kind of come about?
So a good customer of ours had a friend that had an engine built by somebody else, and he was having problems with it. It didn't have any compression at all. And so brought it to us, we tore it apart, found a few little things here and there, helped him, told him what we needed to do. And so he let us run with it. He kind of just said, look, you know, build it the way you would want to build it. And that's what we did. So we just started out with his block and his crank essentially. And we built up his everything else. We spec'd out his pistons, his rods, his heads, camshaft, all the way up to the induction. And the goal was to make about 700 or more horsepower to go in an old 69 Camaro. And we actually ended up making a little over 800 horsepower. And so we spec'd this whole thing out to run on pump gas. It's going into street cars. No, they're not racing this competitively or anything. And so some of the important parts is we ran this is a 4500 series carburetor from Pro Systems. It's called our little monster, but it's on a 4150 base. Okay. So we had to modify the intake a lot. I mean, when we put this on here first, the butterflies would just run into the intake. So we had to open up the intake manifold to even run the carburetor. And it's a hydraulic roller. It's really nothing fancy RPM wise. It's a hydraulic roller with a bunch of comp cams, valve train in it. And
going back to the intake and carb setup, you know, was that just a choice, or was that based on, you know, parts he already had and what you guys had to work with? Or?
The intake was based on something he already had. We knew it was a good intake to run, so we weren't worried about it. But we wanted more induction. It's a big motor, so we wanted the air. We wanted a 4500 carburetor on it, and he was adamant about just trying to run this intake manifold. Didn't want to raise anything up higher, and so we made it work. That's when we reached out to Pro Systems, and they make this specifically to run on a 4150 intake manifold, and it worked great.
All right, so you mentioned you guys spec'd the whole, you know, build. Walk us through, I guess, starting with some of the machine work that you guys had to do with it, and then talk about some of the components involved.
So every engine we do, no matter what, we're going to check I call them the three main machining processes. That's the align hone, where the crank sits. We'll torque plate hone the cylinders and deck it. And so all of this got done. We set his deck height to put his pistons where we want and to help the compression. And then we hone the cylinders with a torque plate. These are at a 4.530 bore on the final bore size, and it's a 4.250 stroke. And it's got a good set of Wiseco pistons, some scat rods, and a scat crankshaft. We balance everything together, so it is all internally balanced. So I don't even like to do externally balanced crankshafts. So we will add heavy metal to the crank as much as we need to. So everything on this is internally balanced, and it's set up for just around 10.5 to 1 compression.
Okay, very good. Now, is this an OE block, or is this an aftermarket block?
This is an OEM GM. They call it the Mark 6 or Gen 6 block, so it's a one-piece rear main seal. It's what came in some of the later model EFI, big block Chevy engines on some of the heavy-duty trucks. So that's what we started with, and then we modified it to what the customer wanted.
Excellent. Obviously, you got some AFR cylinder heads here. Then you mentioned some comp valve train components. What else in terms of the valve train do you guys utilize here?
So we like rigid valve train. So it's got a set of stainless steel comp cams Ultra Pro Magnum rockers on it. We actually upgraded, I'd take these off for you if we had time, but we actually put 7/16 one-piece trend push rods in here. Okay. Custom guide plates. So we really wanted this to spin as much RPM as it could. So it's got a bigger push rod than most engines you'll see out there. It's got nice steel rockers. It's got a hydraulic roller comp cams cam. It's a 248 duration at 50 on the intake, 258 on the exhaust. It's 111 degree lobe separation.
Okay.
And we're approaching 700 thousandths of valve width on intake and exhaust. But it is hydraulic.
Yeah.
And we dynoed this on the engine dyno, and we spun it out to about 7,200 RPM, no problems.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
And it made over 800 horsepower.
Yeah.
On pump gas.
Yeah. And then this is just a typical wet sump oiling system.
It's all internal wet sump.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep. Nothing fancy on the oiling system. It's just got a Melling internal high volume pump.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. And you said the customer just kind of put in his hot rod, a 69 Camaro, I think is what you said? Yeah. Should be a fun piece for the street, right?
It'll be a blast. I can't wait till he gets it in there. He said he's going to come give me a ride in it.
There you go.
So it'll be nice, for sure.
Halston, anything that we're leaving out about the build, or just any aspect that we didn't quite highlight?
No, not really. I mean, being this is a Gen 6 block, getting aftermarket parts is a little far few in between. So Comp has this really nice two-piece billet timing set, timing chain cover that we put on it. So that was a really nice piece, kind of stood out. Other than that, no, it's a street car engine, hydraulic roller, pump gas. It wasn't really dedicated to go race, but he could probably go to the track and whoop up on some people that did build something to go race. It's just a nice piece.
Yeah.
And he let us do what we wanted to. If I had to build an engine for my personal toy, I would want something like this.
Yeah.
For sure.
800 horsepower is nothing to sneeze at.
No,
that's for sure.
Especially with no boost.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Well, Halston, appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for walking us through this 540 cubic inch big block Chevy. Guys, that's been this episode of Engine of the Week. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you guys are checking out everything that Halston's got going on here at H2 Racing Engines. And as always, make sure you're checking out enginebuildermag.com for more engine content. We'll see you guys next time.